O'Reilly!
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
For those of you that have been listening to the podcast for a while, you might remember a gentleman, Phillip Ouellette, who was on the show, and we had a chat about his company, Trailsigns. I am happy to announce Trailsigns is on board to sponsor a few episodes. We all have a backcountry trail or a spot in the wilderness we love, a place that holds memories of a trek that fed our souls and tested our resolve. Want your favorite trail sign hanging above your fireplace or in your hiking room? Send Phillip a picture and he'll make you a replica. I can personally vouch for Phillip's work. He created an original sign for me of Springer Mountain, Georgia, Mount Moosilauke, and designed the Jester Section Hiker Podcast stickers. Check out Phillip's shop at trailsigns.etsy.com. And if you use the coupon code Jester, you will receive 10% off. He also has hats, stickers, keychains, ornaments, and all your trail heart desires. Hey everybody, and welcome to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, and I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. Over the past several months, you all have heard multiple episodes on the podcast focusing on the Mountains to Sea Trail, which is right here in my home state of North Carolina, stretching 1,175 miles from the western terminus at Clingman's Dome in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park to the eastern terminus in the Outer Banks of North Carolina at Jockey's Ridge State Park. There is one interview that has been missing from the series, and I'm going to fill in that gap today with my guest, Betsy Brown, who is the outreach manager for the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail organization. I am titling this episode, Icing on the Cake, and you all will hear shortly why this title is so fitting for Betsy. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode, and if you are new to the show, I really appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and now on to this week's guest, Betsy Brown. All right, you guys, welcome back to the podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and set the stage for you guys. I am at a hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina.
No, Matthews.
In Matthews. Thank you, Betsy. And we are in the courtyard of the hotel. It is a gorgeous day here. We actually had to move to the shade because the sun, we were a little warm because for some reason I decided to wear a hoodie. But without any further ado, you guys, I've been waiting on this interview. You guys know I've been talking about the Mountains to Sea Trail now for 5 or 6 months. And I'm calling this episode the icing on the cake. So please welcome to the podcast the outreach manager for the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail, Betsy Brown. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me and meeting me in this gorgeous courtyard.
It's gorgeous.
By Marriott.
And we have birds in the background. You know, nothing's added. So we have the perfect background music. And Betsy, I just want to personally thank you before we even get rolling on this. And we're looking at each other smiling because I mean this from the bottom of my heart. it is not even possible for me to have gotten some of the interviews that I got on the 40-day hikes without you. And I will start with the team in Elkin that I met, Leslie, Bill, the mayor of Roseboro, and all the other people that I met. I mean, Betsy called me and said, hey, you need to talk to these people, these people, these people. And I'm just calling this a team effort. We put it together, and now we're going to learn all about the wonderful Betsy. So Betsy, it kind of start us off with, you just told me you started your career in the record industry, and we're going to kind of walk through how you ended up with the Mountains to Sea Trail. So take us from the record industry and move us forward to now.
Well, I would have to start by saying absolutely everything you just said is I thank you for that, but everything with the trail is a group effort. So I deflect it back to the amazing people that I connected you with as well. But when I started working back in the 90s, I had no clue I would ever end up working for a trail, and it has been one of the most delightful surprises of my life. I went to school in Chapel Hill, and I always loved music, and so I started interning for a record label called Mammoth Records in Carborough in the summer right after my junior year, and I got hired there in October of my senior year. So I was finishing school and working full time through my senior year, and I loved it. And I just love everything about live music and recorded music and helping artists succeed in their careers. And so I worked 8 years at Mammoth, both in Carborough and in New York. And that job kind of came to an end in 2000, and I moved to DC, and then ended up working for a trade association called Snow Sports Industries America, or SIA, and that is the trade association for people who, or for all the manufacturers of hard and soft goods in the snow sports industry. So people who make snowboards and skis and soft goods like garments and chapstick and anything that goes along with the thing. If you're going out snowboarding or skiing or cross country skiing or snowshoeing or anything, the big thing that we did was put on a gigantic trade show in Vegas where you could come if you owned a ski or snowboard shop or anything that would sell those goods. You would come and do your shopping there to fill your stores. I did PR for the snow sports industry, which was a whole lot of fun. So, and the big thing that the year that the Olympics were in Salt Lake City, I was handling PR for the whole industry, which was
awesome.
Such a fun thing. And it was a year that the women snowboarders just absolutely ripped it up, and it was a great year. So we were handling a lot of PR requests, like, who are these people and how many people ski and how many people snowboard? And so it was absolutely a wonderful a time to be doing that. I learned so much, but it was also not a great time to be living in DC from 2000 to 2002, and we decided to move back to North Carolina. And for some reason, North Carolina kept drawing me back. I lived in New York, I lived in DC, but I kept coming back to North Carolina. And for some reason, I just kept coming home. It was home, but there's a whole lot of amazing things here. I kind of came to learn that, you keep coming home for some reason or another. And then I kind of went back into music. I was working for the Cat's Cradle for a while, doing production of big events that were off-site. I worked for, I did a year of PR at Walnut Creek Amphitheater outside of Raleigh.
Wow.
So helping there. Just different things. And then one day I think I was reading Our State magazine, and I saw an article on the Mountains to Sea Trail, and I was like, what is this amazing thing? And then I looked up the website and saw the offices were in Raleigh, and I contacted Kate Dixon, the executive director, and I said I'd like to volunteer. And like a week later, she called me in, and I was writing thank you notes and helping with, that kind of mail merging thank you notes out. And
now, were you hiking as you were doing this? Or, no, okay.
I did not. I grew up in a family that was not an outdoor family. Like, I was thinking about this last night. Like, I don't think my family ever walked outdoors together. I think about like the families that we had at the recent Ungathering who are hiking and backpacking and doing things with their kids. And I'm like, God, we never, ever did that. We might go to the beach or, we really didn't do outdoors things. So the fact that this is where I am is even more surprising, and I am failing utterly with my children because they don't want to hike with me outdoors. So I don't know really how I ended up here. It is surprising and delightful, but I'm not doing a good job to get my kids doing the same thing. But
so you're writing thank you notes.
Yes, I was writing thank you notes, and
come on, let's.
And somehow she figured out that I could do events, because at each of my previous job, I had marketing experience, I had public relations experience, and I put on and produced events. And so somehow she put it all together and hired me to do our annual meeting. So the first events that I produced for the Friends of the MST was the annual meeting in Saxapahaw, which is in Alamance County and is on the route of the trail that will, when the trail is finished along the Haw River, will be on the trail. It's a beautiful old ballroom in Saxapahaw. It's just a neat place, and once the trail goes that way, hikers are going to love Saxapahaw because there's great food. It's a beautiful place. It's going to be amazing.
It's interesting because when I interviewed Ben Jones, he kind of had the same experience with Kate Dixon. He called her and said, hey, I'd love to volunteer by services. Next thing you know, he's working on the coastal plains.
Yep.
And then the next thing I think Kate Dixon does her research is what I think.
She's very, very good. And that's one of the most amazing things I've learned from her is people say they want to help. And instead of just saying, here, go, either not hearing them and just not hearing the request, but or giving them something, just kind of, here's something to do. She really understands their talents and tries to find the right job for them. And I think that's, where everybody who's on staff, with the exception of our new business manager, she's the only kind of hire and she's our fifth employee and really had a really special skill set. But everybody has come in as a volunteer in some way. Jim Grody, Ben, and I have all been kind of volunteers that she's found just because we've had these talents in some way that she's kind of pulled in. But I think she's really good at listening and placing people. And I think one of her real talents is growing nonprofits from a very small to larger, but knowing exactly what people are good at and how to use them well. And people are in key volunteer positions across the state. She's really, really good at that. And I think that's what's made the Friends as small as it is, but as mighty as it is really finding people who care and can work really hard. So.
And that's very evident too, is from someone on the outside who is learning the organization and the hikers and the trail angels and the task force. That is very evident, and that for me, that is a draw to the organization.
Yeah,
because you could just feel that things are very purposeful is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And driven towards everything that can possibly happen to make the trail better and to build a good trail for hikers. So that's what really draws me in. And I think I've interviewed everybody now with the exception of your new business manager. So having interviewed you guys and to sit down and individually talk to you has been awesome. So again, I throw out these thank yous, but they're very, I'm very thankful to be able to do that.
Well, I think on my side, I think how lucky I am to be one of these 5 people that this is what we get to do every day. And on behalf of all these people who use and enjoy the trail and appreciate it, it is really a place that, I never expected I would be, but how lucky I am to have wound up here, representing thousands of people who get to enjoy the trail, but I don't want to be replaced. No. I want to work my butt off every day so that
Betsy, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be replaced.
But I'm so thankful that every day I get to get up and even if I have a bad day, I'm working for a trail. I'm having a good day,
which is awesome. And you guys, you can't see her, but she's grinning from ear to ear. So we've kind of had the journey of Betsy to the Mountains to Sea Trail and your current position for the Friends as an outreach manager. But I would say you're beyond, an event planner, a PR person. You are the individual that everybody that I've talked to on the trail, whether it was a hiker, whether it was somebody I met randomly, they know who you are. You are related to, when people say, hey, the Mountains to Sea Trail, they're like, oh yeah, Betsy. So there you go. You're doing beyond, dreams for an outreach manager position. So
Thank you.
Okay, enough about floating Betsy's brain here and puffing you up. So we know that you were hired to, do events there in I can't say that right.
Saxapaw.
Saxapaw. I was calling it Saxapaw Hall, I think. So now I know.
You call it whatever. Yeah. Saxapaw.
So what would you define your position as now?
Ugh. Well, when I started, it was just Kate. There was an outreach manager before me named Joellen Mason who's really started the role, and she was fantastic. And then when I came on, it was just Kate and I. So whatever Kate didn't do, I did. So I can't even define what the job was. It could be working with volunteers one day. It could be working with a hiker who was lost. It could be, doing any number of things. Each day was kind of a constant surprise. But it's evolving now. It's still a constant surprise. And I think of the word outreach, and sometimes it's almost more, I don't know if in reach is a word, but there's so many people reaching to me who want to help. So it's almost more in reach, that I'm trying to figure out how to work with everybody who wants to be a part of the trail and how to make the trail accessible to so many more people, that it's overwhelming in some days that there could be so much to do, but there's only this many of us that you can touch. And the thing that really guides me is that no matter what I do and we do, that I just want it to be authentic. Like, it just still needs to feel real. We're small enough that anything we do, like, I don't want to do it. Can you say half-assed on a podcast that it doesn't feel real? Like, that's just who I am, and I think that's who we are. Like, if I were to create something slick that's like, let's do all this snazzy stuff, like, that's not real. Like, I would rather sit here with you for 2 hours than go do something that just doesn't feel like an authentic way to connect
something
people.
That you felt like you had to versus something that was authentic.
That was real. Our anything that we do, it still feels like we're getting bigger, but we still feel so connected. Like, there's a real MST family. That's
I think it's a great term. The family, community. It's like, and this is a great point to turn the conversation to the gathering / ungathering, which just happened at the end of March, and the Friends of the Mountains of Sea Trail organization put on what I'm going to call, it was my first time attending the event, but it was virtual because of COVID and everything that's going on. An annual meeting that probably for the first time in any meeting I've ever attended, I wanted to be part of every single session, every single point, and I really didn't want to miss anything that anybody was saying. So, and I've had several people say that to me. So another kudos to you guys for doing that. But talk to us about what that ungathering was, what the gathering is, and maybe where next year's gathering is going to be. Sure.
Well, we are the Friends of the Mountains of Sea Trail is a membership organization, and that's really how I got my foot in the door, was that I could plan these meetings, and so they used to be a one-day event. They were smaller, everybody fit in one room with a handful of people, and they've grown, and they've become really amazing events where people come together from all across the state and gather. And the real turning point was, they've had several turning points. We started meeting, we were at Haw River State Park, and then moved to Saxapahaw, and we outgrew the Haw River Ballroom, which was a big step. And then we moved to Elon. We had a great member who was on staff there and got us access to the biggest room on Elon's campus, which we outgrew. And that was a one-day event. But when the trail turned 40 in 2017, we really wanted to step it up. So we went to the trail town of Elkin and did a weekend-long event there celebrating the trail's 40th anniversary. And with that, we realized we could do a lot. We had a what did we call it? A hiking boot gala, or did we call it? I forget things after they've happened. It was something where we just encourage you to wear your clean hiking boots, and that was how we asked you to dress up to have a celebratory event. But we hiked and we gathered and we met for a long weekend. And after that, we realized we really could kind of showcase different parts of the trail, and people wanted to come and get together. We still had our annual meeting where we talked the state of the trail. Kate would present what was happening. People could ask questions. We could talk about the finances of the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail, because it is an annual meeting, and that's important to know that we're a solid nonprofit and everything is sound. And we'd hear from state parks, and the director of state parks usually comes, and some of the trail planners, and get everybody together in one room so you could meet somebody from the trail in segment 1 versus segment 18, and people could just see faces and meet people. And it's just, again, another way to really grow the community, and people just are making these wonderful connections, and hikers are meeting volunteers, and trail angels are meeting armchair hikers. You're just bringing people together, and it is a tremendous joy. It is a tremendous amount of work. It's the biggest thing I work on a year. Generally, about half my hours of the year are spent on the gathering. And we did 2 years in Elkin, which was a blast, celebrating the 40th and then the 41st. And then the 42nd year, we went to Surf City, which is on the coastal crescent portion of the trail. Right, it's the spot where hikers first see the Atlantic Ocean. So you come over the big, beautiful new bridge in Surf City in Pender County. And it's a really different type of trail town, because it's a beach town.
Yeah, and that bridge is a bridge, let me tell you. It's not just...
It's a big old bridge. There used to be a swing bridge that got taken out, and this bridge was, it was a big ticket item for Pender County and DOT, and it is beautiful. It's got just a stunning view, and it's a neat community. There's a sea turtle hospital right there. There's just really great, exciting things there. And you walk up the beach for 8 miles once you come over that bridge. So you get a taste of being on the shore, and then you come off the beach, and you have to keep walking a long ways before you're done. But I've heard many people hikers talk about the tears they have at the top of that bridge, since if they're going eastbound, that when they see the ocean for the first time, they get really teary. But it's a really neat community, and again, it's a very different type of place on the trail. So we were there for 1 year, and then we had to cancel our gathering last year in 2020. Again, math.
Yeah.
We were.
We want to forget about it, but 2020.
We were scheduled for the end of March, and we were just weeks away from it. And right when Governor Cooper was addressing, what do? We just, about 2 weeks prior to everything shutting down, we went ahead and canceled it because we just didn't know. And yeah, it was a rough thing to have to do, because so many people were excited about being together, but we knew it was the right thing to do. Yeah. It was a big bummer, and we just shut down a year. And this year, we obviously wanted to gather people together, and we wanted people to remember this is a time frame that we do come together. And so we decided to do a virtual meeting, and we decided to call it the Ungathering, because we still wanted to gather, but we ungathered.
I thought it was great.
Well, thank you. We really wanted to do something. And I guess the virtual side of it was, for me, it scared the pants off me, because everything that can possibly go wrong in Zoom is what I just had no idea. I'd never put together a meeting. Thankfully, we were able to hire a meeting consultant who was our in-person meeting consultant in Surf City, who turned the gymnasium into a decent looking place for a meet. I mean, it's a great gymnasium where we were in Surf City, but he put in pipe and drape, and he made these things to make the gymnasium look a lot fancier than a very well built gymnasium usually looks. But Will King came back and helped us manage the behind the scenes parts of making the meeting not a total nightmare. And then Elizabeth, our business manager, was really helpful in all of that. But it was still really scary on my part. I will not hesitate to say that was the second hardest event I have ever planned in my entire life.
Well, you guys pulled it off. I say bravo.
Thank you. I appreciate that, but I definitely was biting my nails. And you probably couldn't tell this at home, but there was a point. Well, I'll back up. We broadcast it from the Museum of Natural Sciences in downtown Raleigh. We got a huge conference space and all spread out through there. But at one point in time, we all got kicked off their internet. So everyone who was hosting the Zoom call, the massive Zoom call for everybody, got kicked off the Zoom and the internet. And thank goodness for Jim Grody, our trail resource manager, who was a co-host on his sailboat in New Bern, or a whole meeting would have gone down, because we looked at each other and watched all 5 of us in that room, or 4 of us, however many were in that room, got kicked off. And thankfully, Jim held the meeting up from his boat. And he sometimes has sketchy internet connections from the boat, but
Well, we would have never known that. I would have never known that.
Thankfully, you
Never.
didn't. But basically what we did was we did a 2-day virtual event where on Friday night we just held a members-only celebration where we thank our volunteers who put in over 50 hours worth of work on the trail, which is a huge thing for us because they're the ones that make the trail work. I mean, those are the people who, if they weren't out there doing their volunteer work on the trail, there would be no trail. And so we thank them for their hard work, and we honor the hikers who completed the trail in 2020 and also 2019 because they got they got the shaft in 2020. So next
But you
year,
still honored them.
absolutely,
So, yeah.
we want to honor everybody who completes the trail. Again, if it takes you a year, it takes you 25 years. You will get your certificate, and we will clap for you. And then we honored our board members who were coming off the board, and our past president, Millie Chalk, who did an exceptional year of service in the crazy COVID year. And then what else did we do? Oh, and then we did the happy hours. This was really fun. This was again a challenge.
That was a lot of fun.
We took an hour, divided it into 3, and then threw people randomly into breakout rooms to meet people. We had room hosts, and thankfully Jester said she would do it because she's a natural born hostess.
I don't know about that, but I had a lot of fun, and I met a lot of people. And it went fast.
It did go really fast. We had all these kind of prepared questions in case we needed to stimulate conversation, and we did not need to do that. But it went really, really fast, where we just kind of threw people together. The randomizing was really kind of a challenge because we were just chucking people into rooms, and some of them randomized well, and some of them didn't quite go as random. But it's still, you just met, approximately 30 new people in an hour. And then we switched over to Facebook Live for a concert by this lovely fellow named Shay Martin Lovett, who is section hiking the trail. He's based in Boone. And just
Shay, if you
sweetheart.
ever listen to this, I want to have you on the podcast. I'm coming after you.
Well, I know how to do that. I can connect you. You know who to ask.
I know who to ask. I'm going to ask Betsy, but Shay, I'm coming for you. That was a great concert.
He's just a sweetheart of a guy and wants to support the trail in every way. Hopefully he'll be at Trail Days. He was there last time.
Oh,
playing,
awesome.
so,
I'm looking forward. We could talk about that too, NC Trail Days. So, and then the gathering.
Yeah, and then Saturday day, that looks more typical, where we say hello. We hear from state parks, which was exciting because we'd just gotten a whole lot more funding from the governor's budget. So Dwayne Patterson talked about that. Yeah, a lot of money coming for outdoor recreation this year, which is exciting. We got an update from Kate Dixon telling us what's happening on the trail around and about it. And then we had our keynote speaker, who was the charming and effervescent Jeremy Markovich, who did a great podcast about the trail called Away Message.
Yes, very good. And if you have not listened to that, I do recommend that because he follows 3 or 4 hikers. I can't remember.
3. Well, there was a 4th who kind of faded in and out when he was hiking some with Aaron. Female Aaron. There were 2 Aarons, which again is funny. I didn't intend to send him 2 Aarons to interview, but it worked out that way. Male and female Aaron. That's a great podcast as well. And then we did a panel called Diversity and Joy on the MST with Director Patterson leading it, and then 2 wonderful fellows who are great hiking advocates, Cedric and Charles.
And Charles is actually based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So again, Betsy, I'm going to need you to hook me up with Charles as well. So.
And then we broke off into 7 different panels that were really exciting, different topics, different things you could learn about the trail. And the one thing that was interesting about that was that because we were virtual, we could have so many different experts. So I don't know if we'd ever be able to do that again, just because they were so many amazing people from all over the state that I don't know if we'd get that if we had done it in person.
I don't know, Betsy. You can pull anything off, so I don't underestimate what's going to happen.
Well, I don't think I could pull that off. A lot of those people are really amazing. I don't know if I could pull that diverse of and that experienced and smart group of people together anywhere except for on the Zoom, but I'm happy to try.
Now, is that going to be available
those panels are online now.
Okay.
I emailed them out to everybody who attended, if you checked your email.
Okay, maybe
they
I
were
need
with
to
the
check my email.
survey. If you did the survey, which I sent you, the link is there. They're not edited, and we'll put them up on the website once we get around to editing them.
Awesome. When now, will they be available for members, non-members?
Eventually,
anybody
I'm going to get them
interested?
up on the website.
Okay.
We're trying to rethink, again, small staff, lots to do, repurposing the content, because some of them were so good. There was a session on hiking and backpacking with kids, and I think it would apply to anybody who's new to hiking and backpacking. Just really, how do you get started? Figuring out how to use that somewhere on our website just as an introduction to getting involved, or how do you use the MST's resources? How do you use the trail guides? How do you use the maps? Those type of things are things that are great information that we, again, can repurpose and reuse. And then the panel that you led, Jester, about working, the completers, all the recent completers talked about.
And we had a good time on that panel.
Yes, it was a good one. It was.
It went on,
one.
and Betsy left, and
we were getting kicked out of our conference room, so we had to switch things around a little bit. But there is so much good stuff that I haven't even gone back and watched all the panels. I need to, but yeah. So we did, moving on to 2022.
Yeah, next year you announced where next year's is going to be. So
yes,
where is that?
We will be celebrating the 45th anniversary of the trail in Lake Junaluska and Haywood County and Waynesville.
Yay!
So in 1977, the trail was announced at a conference in Lake Junaluska. And so what a great place to go back to celebrate the trail's 45th anniversary. And Lake Junaluska is a beautiful area just right outside of Waynesville. It's got conference centers. It's got lots of different types of housing. It's got camping. It's got a lake, obviously. And if you look, I don't know which way I'm facing from the lake. The trail is right up along the parkway, and it's beautiful.
We're going to say west.
Yeah,
so,
westish. I in my mind's eye, I'm looking west, but you're looking towards the mountains, and it's just a really beautiful area. And we have great volunteers up there. It's just a really neat, very special part of the trail. We've never been that far west before.
And that one's going to be in person, hopefully.
Yes,
Fingers crossed, everything goes well.
I am finalizing all of the details right now. We'll have hotel or accommodation information up soon, and we just want as many people as want to come. So we're hoping that it's going to be a big, huge, exciting event.
I think it's going to be. If I have anything to do with it, I'm going to pump it up. So.
Good, because we have to hit a certain number of rooms. And it's also, as we announced, our executive director will be retiring, and this is, we're going to be celebrating her, not the end of the Kate era, but celebrating everything that she's done. And they've assured me they have a pontoon boat we can sit Kate on and push her off into the lake, and not, I guess, in kind of Viking style. We don't want to shoot flaming arrows at her, but I don't think they'll invite us back if we did that. But it'll be a whole lot of fun.
I'm certainly not going to miss that.
It'll be a whole lot of fun. But generally for these events, we plan excursions, we have hikes, we invite different experts to do different types of things. When we were in Elkin, we went up into Stone Mountain, and we had hikes where they showed us where all the moonshine stills were. So you're getting to do things that aren't, the average hike. We'll be working some with our great volunteers up there with Carolina Mountain Club. We'll do some trail work days. We'll do some great hikes.
Les Love.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to meet Les Love in person.
Oh, that Les Love. He is amazing. So we're really we'll start planning soon, but it'll be a really fun event.
Well,
I'm
is
excited to see
I know,
everybody.
I wish y'all could see Betsy's face. I mean, so we've learned about Betsy. We've learned about the Ungathering. Even if you're not in the state of North Carolina, you can get involved with the Mountains to Sea Trail. See what's happening, see what's going on. There's a lot of stuff. There's the 40-day hikes. A lot of families are out on the trail, currently working on the 40-day hikes. So,
and I forgot your patch. That was the whole reason we were going to meet in person.
Okay, we're done,
I
Betsy.
know. I'm going to have to drive back to Raleigh and come back. I got halfway here, and I cursed out loud. Sorry. I'll mail it to you on Monday.
You won't be seeing the selfie of me and Betsy with my 40-day hike
I can
patch.
pretend.
Not a problem. I know you'll send it to me. So we've basically covered the ins and outs of, and we know you do way more than, just the event planning and the outreach. I mean, all the hikers on the trail, the volunteers, the task force leaders. If there's something that you could leave the listeners with as we put the icing on the cake, which is what I'm titling this episode, what would you say to the listeners, Betsy? What do you want to sign off with?
Well, Ben took my answer because I listened to his podcast, which was, the trail is really something that no matter who you are and what you think, it's a great place where everybody can come together. And so as we were driving here to Matthews last night, and I was cursing all the 5 accidents through Burlington, and I was trying to hustle to get here, I think I'm going to rechange my answer to the trail is really a great place to just slow down and listen and just chill out. Yes, it is a great place where you can check everything at the door and find people that you have things in common with, but it's also a really great place to figure that out about yourself. And right now, as we're hustling and bustling and kind of coming back to where we used to be a year ago, let's remember how nice it is to kind of have slowed down and how awesome it is that while we were driving 75, 80 miles an hour to try and get to this Courtyard by Marriott on time. I am at a soccer tournament, by the way. That's why I'm here with my 12-year-old son and all of his crazy teammates. If I had just gone, even while I was driving, I recognized the places that I crossed under I-40 and where I know which parts along the highway I had hiked, in my quest to complete the whole trail. I know that there's this huge, beautiful thistle bush right under the highway at a certain spot that I drove by so fast, and how much more enjoyable it was to walk under the highway there and see that really beautiful purple weed. It's just so much nicer when you go slow. And, whenever you're driving really fast to get to the beach, if you just slow down and see the beauty in the coastal crescent, which usually you're going fast to get someplace else. But instead, if you just shift your mind and instead, go find that trail and slow down and stop worrying about getting everybody everywhere, quicker and faster and, just take that step back and slow it back down. Because as much as I've missed this past year and seeing and doing everything in person, I really have enjoyed, the reconnecting and the just chilling out more and laughing with my kids and, being able to hike more or less or slower or faster, but just going out there and not having to do anything. And that's a really great feeling. And the trail is a great place for that. It's also a great place to go safely with the people that you care about and seeing new things and experiencing the state that I kept coming back to for some reason. And, it's an amazing place to meet new people and connect with all sorts of new folks. And, for me, again, that's just been such a joy to have met and connected with all these people. And, it's not where I expected to have wound up, but I can't imagine now where else I would be. So,
well, Betsy, North Carolina is a great place to call home.
I know it is.
So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yep.
You have an open invitation whenever you want to come on. If there's announcements you want to make, whatever you want to do, I will make it happen. Really appreciate it,
All
Betsy.
right. Well, we'll hike sometime instead of sitting in this.
Yes, exactly.
courtyard.
We need to hike.
All right.
There is really no better way to record a podcast than sitting around, hanging out, and chatting trail. It was so great to finally meet Betsy in person and have a genuine, heartfelt conversation with someone who truly loves what she does. Thank you, Betsy, and thanks for being the icing on the cake. As always, all of the information, resources, and pictures from today's episode can be found in the show notes at hikingradionetwork.com. If you like what we do here at the network, please consider a donation to your favorite show and leave us a review. Each donation and review truly makes a difference in what we do. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me. and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way. If you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray, the music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money, a Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.